Welcome back, everybody, and we're going to start the year off with self-portraits, or you could actually make any type of portrait. This is just to learn the facial proportions of portraits, and we're going to make a realistic portrait if we can. So we're going to use some handouts to help us. We have this sheet of facial proportions. There are some step-by-step that we can go through, and also I have this worksheet as well. This has got a lot of lines on it, but we may not need every single line to do that, but I also have it on the Google Classroom as well, just so you have it at home. So what I'm going to do here, I have a kind of a finished self-portrait of mine. I look a little scared in my portrait, probably because of COVID, but you're going to use a piece of paper in the vertical position for our portrait. And what might help you is maybe folding your paper in half, just bringing the bottom up to the top. And the reason why we're doing that line is so that can be the middle line of our oval face. We're not going to use any tracers. We're going to freehand our shape of our head. And then I also have a whiteboard so that I can kind of draw maybe some different hairstyles. So I'm going to use a pencil to start with, and then I'm going to, you could use your finger to kind of do like a ghost drawing of a shape that you want to do first for an oval or egg-shaped head. So it's wider at the top. This is the center where our eyes are going to be. So if you want to do a little sketched line like that, then that way we can work on drawing the oval head. So I'm going to draw very light lines to try to start off the head. I usually draw more than one line whenever I'm trying to make the shape of my head. I'm not sure if you can see that in the video. Hopefully you can. So it's going to be wider on the top, and then for the chin area, it's a little thinner down there. Then what you could do is you could draw a line down the center. Then we're going to erase a lot of lines after that. So I'll do that on my whiteboard too, so hopefully you can see it. So here's where my eye line would be. Then we have that line down the center. Then after doing that, we need to figure out where the eyes are going to be placed. And so there is an eye space in between the two eyes. So if this is our vertical line in the middle, coming over and maybe making a dot where the eye would start, leaving some space in between, and go over here. So kind of a curved line like that for the top of the eye, and then underneath is like a little valley. So it's kind of like a football shape or an almond shape for the eye. So if you can see that, you can do the same thing here. And then the bottom. It's going to look a little alien-like at first, but until you start adding other things. Then after doing that, we have the nose line, which is a third of the way down from the eye line. And then for the nose, you could probably just do a small little curve for the nose, maybe two kind of curves to the side for the nose. And I'm just looking at this sheet right here, so I can add the eyebrows. You could do it as a shape first, and then you could use color pencil to add some texture for the eyebrow. You don't necessarily have to do a self-portrait. You could just use this drawing as drawing just a random person. And everybody's eyebrows are different, so you can always thicken the eyebrows, thin the eyebrows with color pencil later. The ears actually are in between the eye line and the nose line, so if you just do a slight curve in between, the hair could fall in front of the ear or behind the ear, just depending on what you want to do. The mouth line, I don't want to go too fast. So just kind of draw on that. The mouth line would be a third of the way down from the nose line. And you could just use a slight curve for the bottom lip. The top lip is kind of like a little curved valley, which comes up a little bit and comes down to that separation line where the top and the bottom lip touch. If you don't like it too curvy, you can just not make it so much of a valley. You can change it a little bit. So in this one I can do, if this is my center line, if I don't want much of a curve at all, I don't even really have to make it very curvy. That looks more like maybe a male top lip, possibly. Then for the next step is to do the iris of the eye, which would be filling in a little bit of the area in the middle of that shape with a circle, and then the pupil in the center. Right now we're just kind of laying everything out with pencil. The hairline, it just depends on what you want to do for a hairline. You could have your hair parted, or you could have bangs. And this one I won't have any hair part. I'll just kind of come across a little bit above the forehead and maybe have it go behind the ears. Just depending on what you want to do with the hair. I'm going to go back to the hair after we do a neck. So the neck, you would probably just come over here to the side of the mouth and do a slight curve on both sides. You don't want your neck too thin, right, for your face. It would not be proportionate. And then, you know, come up with a line you want to use for maybe a shirt. It could be angled, it could be curved. And then just the shoulders kind of slowly curve to the corners. So for this one, maybe I could just curve it more like that. And then just have the shoulders go off to the sides on both sides, adding the center part of the eyes. Now you also have eyelashes you could add. They could be short or long. I curve them a little bit just so that it gives it the illusion that they're slightly curved, because they kind of grow in a certain direction. You could always add a hat to your person. If you want to add glasses, you could just create a shape around the eyes. So if I were going to do glasses, maybe with this portrait right here, maybe add a couple eyelashes here. I forgot the ears. I don't expect for you to get this all done at one time, so we're just going to go ahead and start on with the basic parts of it. If I erase this, you can go ahead and erase your guidelines. So you'll take your pencil eraser and go ahead and erase your guidelines. Then if I were going to add glasses, maybe I would just create the shape of the frame of the glasses first. Maybe they're oval shaped, maybe they have thick frames. And just have it come around the shape of the eye. And then maybe angle a diagonal line slightly going to the top of the ear. That makes sense there. So I kind of like how those frames of the glasses go around the eyes there. If you want the hair parted, you could do like that. Maybe your person has curly hair a little bit, so you can use like a wavy line. You could add a couple extra lines to suggest that it's curly. You can always come back in with color pencil. Or you could change it. The hair could go in the front of the shirt or behind. So on this one, I'm just going to erase the main lines that were the guidelines. And then you could use just color pencil with this. Color pencil works really well for the texture of your hair. But then you could also use crayon. I have some different colors for skin tones that I might want to use on coloring the skin tone of my my face. I think I used color pencil just for this portrait, but I added some shading with a little bit of blue for shadows on that. So for now, we're just going to do the pencil part of it, and then we'll add color on your own.